Alright guys, so today we've got this 2013. This is a Subaru BRZ. This is an all keys lost situation. So a good friend of mine gave me a call, told me that his buddy lost his keys here at this really nice park. And so they did the best they could to try to find the keys. They retraced their steps, but they couldn't find them. So unfortunately, we're going to have to do this all keys lost situation. I do have a key available for this thing. However, when I came to try to program the key to this car, you know, me thinking that it's a Toyota, it's probably going to be pretty straightforward. Maybe we need to reset the IMMO box, or maybe we generate an analog key and then we can add a key with it. But this turned out to be a little bit more complicated, because when I went into the Autel scan tool, I found that there was no option for us to read the IMMO box via OBD. And so it became pretty evident that this wasn't going to be so straightforward. You know, on a lot of these, even if you can't read the IMMO box through the OBD, there's usually a plug, or excuse me, an adapter cable that we can connect directly to the smart box and we can read it. We don't necessarily have to open it, but in this case, there's no function for us to read the box that way. We're literally going to have to just open the box up, go directly to the Eeprom on the board. We're going to have to read the chip, and then with that chip data, we're going to use that to generate the simulator key. So anyways, I'm going to take you guys inside real quick and show you. Fortunately, the door was not locked, so we didn't have to open it up. But this is a push button start, by the way, if I didn't mention it. So here's our push button start. And like I said, I already tried to connect the Autel and my different programmers, and none of them would do this job via OBD. So I went ahead and I pulled out the IMMO box. So this is the IMMO box right here. You can see it says Smart Main ECU Assembly. There's the part number there. And as you can tell, I pulled it out with the bracket. Was the simplest way to do this. There's just two 10mm bolts that hold it on right here. And I'll show you, it's located right behind where the glove box is. So basically, if you remove the glove box, the box just kind of went up in here like this. Yeah, so if you guys can see where the box is located right here, and you can get access to the two 10mm bolts right here on the side, and then from there you can just pull it out of the bottom. Very simple to do. There are 3 plug connectors down here at the bottom. Those were easy enough to disconnect. So here is the circuit board that I pulled out of the smart box. It just slides out like that. There's a little cover on the front of it that you just clip off, and then you're able to slide this out. And the chip that we're looking for is going to be this one right here, this IC003, I believe. And if you look at the chip up close, this is a S93C86. Now, I did already try to read this using the Eeprom clip. However, I was not able to get a good read on it. So in order for us to get a good read, we're going to have to desolder this chip right here. Honestly, in my mobile setup, I don't have the best soldering iron here to do this. I do have a soldering iron, but it's a pretty old, dirty one that I use for, you know, soldering wires on cars and stuff like that. Not really for Eeprom work. That setup, I have it at home. And fortunately, I'm only about 15 minutes away from where I live. So what I decided to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this back to my home office. We're going to desolder this chip. We're going to read the Eeprom information. We're going to load it up into the Autel. Then we're going to come back and we're going to see if we can program a key using the simulator. So now that you guys understand where we're at, let's go ahead and get back to the office, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Alright guys, so here we are on my workbench. As you can see, I've got the board right here. I'm going to go ahead and start by desoldering our little Eeprom chip. So yeah, let's get to work. So here's the dip socket. We're going to go ahead and slide the Eeprom chip into it. The dip socket, you do have to push this down to open it up, and then we're just going to drop this chip in there. And now that our chip is in there, we can lock it down. Alright, so on the XP400, if you look right here, you can see that there's a little red mark on the bottom right hand corner. That's to indicate where our pin number 1 is located. So we're going to try to orient this dip socket to where the pin 1 lines up to right here. So that's the bottom right hand corner. Let's go ahead and slide it in there. So we're in. We're just going to push this lever down and it's going to lock it into place. Alright, so moving over to the programmer. Here I've got the Autel IM508. And as you can see, I've already went ahead and pulled up our chip. This is an S93C86. This is under Seiko. So let me back out just to show you guys. When we go into the Eeprom section, right here we'll click on Eeprom. We're going to move over and we're going to look for Seiko right there. We'll click on it. Then we're going to look for our chip number right there, S93C86. We'll select it. Always make sure your set verification is on. Mine is, so we're going to go ahead and do a read. You can see it's reading the chip and it read it twice. Now when you see it reading twice, that's because it is doing a second read due to the set verification. It's reading it twice and comparing those two files to make sure that they're both the same. Whenever you guys are doing Eeprom work and you're reading a chip, always make sure that you have your set verification on. That's going to make sure that you have a good read. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. We're going to name this 2013 BRZ. And I'm going to put the customer's name in there too. We're going to go ahead and save it. We'll hit OK. Now, one more thing that I'm going to do before I actually remove the Eeprom from this is I'm going to do a second read. I've gotten into the habit of doing multiple reads because you never know when you might run into a situation where, you know, there was something wrong with the first read or the first file. Then you got to go back in there and read it again. And so I just like to get into the habit of reading the chip twice and saving two different files, a version 1 and a version 2. So there we have our first read, our second read. It passed verification, so we're going to save this one as version 2. I basically named it the same file and I put a V2 at the end to differentiate the two, so we're going to save that. File saved successfully, so let's go ahead and solder this back to the board. All right, guys, so we're back at the car. I've got the IMMO box right here. We're going to go ahead and plug it in. All right, so we've got our IMMO box plugged in. I'll be bolting it up later. All right, so we're here in the driver's seat. I've got the IM508 connected. We're going to go into IMMO. Now, in our case, because this is all keys lost, we can't just do an auto identify. We're going to have to manually punch in our vehicle. So we're going to click on Asia, select Subaru. Hopefully you guys can see this screen. We're going to manually select America BRZ. This is a 2013, so we'll select 2013 through 2021. This is a smart key. Hit yes. Now, like I mentioned before, there is no function here for you to read the IMMO box or backup Eeprom data via OBD, or even using a cable connected directly to the box. Eeprom was the only way we were able to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on IMMO status scan. As you can see, we have 2 keys registered in the system. So we're going to go ahead and click on IMMO learning. And here we have the function to generate the analog key. So I'm going to click on that. This is going to require us to use this little guy right here. This is the Autel APB112. This is our simulator key. So right now it's telling us don't have it plugged in. So we're just going to hit OK. We're going to select our Eeprom dump. Let's go ahead and locate it. Right there, 2013 BRZ. So we'll select it, hit OK. You got to make sure that you're connected to the Wi-Fi. Let me make sure that I'm on my hotspot here. Okay, so I'm connected to my hotspot. Let's go ahead and go back to the menu. We're going to click on OK. It's telling us to please connect the analog key via USB. So I've got the plug right here. Let's go ahead and connect it. You can see it light up. We're going to hit OK. Initializing. Looks like it's doing a little update. I haven't plugged this thing in a long time. Okay, so now it says generate analog key is complete. Note, the analog key must be powered on, never cut off. So that means that we cannot disconnect this key. If we do, we will lose the analog key that it generated. So now we're going to use this to start the vehicle. So if I take this and I put it up against the start button down here. Now this does require that you put it up against the button. Now we're going to use this key to push the button and see if the instrument cluster comes on. As you guys can see, the instrument cluster powered up. Let's see if we can start the vehicle up. Boom. Car is running. Now we're going to use this key to program our additional key. All right, guys, so now that we've generated our emulator, we're going to go ahead and add key. So let's click on add key. Now in this case, I am using an XM38 remote from Xhorse. I generated to this, you guys can see BRZ 5290. It's a 314.35 FSK. This, according to some of the feedback I read here, should be a good key. So we're we're going to give it a shot. I did go ahead and pull the board out of the shell, just because sometimes it's better to pick it up that way whenever you're trying to do the learning process. Sometimes when you have the board inside the shell, it doesn't pick it up as well. So anyways, we're going to start by hitting yes. It's asking us to turn the ignition on, so I'm going to use the emulator up against the button. We're going to push it, and that's going to turn the instrument cluster on. You guys can see everything is lit up. So from here we can hit OK. Now it wants us to touch the emulator up against the button. You can see that it registered, it beeped. So now we're going to take our new key, we're going to put it up against the button, and there you go. You guys see the light flashing on the remote? It's learning. So give this thing a second here. All right, learning succeeded. So our new remote is now programmed to the car. Before I do anything, we're going to hit OK. We're going to back out of this menu. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rescan this, because as you guys can see, we had 2 keys registered in the system. We're going to rescan it, and this time we should have 3. Yep, there we have it, 3 keys in the system now. So let's back out of this. Now let's go ahead and turn the ignition off, and we'll see if the ignition comes back on. So we're going to push the button here. You can see we have our key symbol there, so we're going to put this up against the button, and now we're going to push it. Okay, yeah, so the key is working. Let's go ahead and try to start the car. All right, so our key is working. Let's see if the proximity function works. So I'm going to open and then close the door. Well, first of all, let's check the remote. We're going to hit lock. Okay, so the door's locked. Now unlock. All right, so the door's unlocked. Now we're going to go ahead and try the proximity function. I'm going to put my foot on the brake pedal. We're going to hit the start button. And as you guys can see, our security light is flashing on the dash, so the proximity is not working. Now if I put the key up against the button and try to start the car, you can see the car starts up right away. So yeah, the key works, but the proximity function is not working. Now sometimes with these XM38 Xhorse remotes, you do have to go in there and modify the strength of the signal of the keys, so that's probably what we need to do. So I'm going to turn this off. Okay, so under special function, we're going to go to VVDI remote function, and we're going to go down to Toyota Smart Key Setting. Now we're going to stick the key into the slot up here, and we're going to read the key. As you guys can see, our signal strength is at 6. The higher this number, the weaker the signal, so we're going to go ahead and drop this down to a 1. Now we're going to write it. Write success. So now our signal strength on our key should be much stronger, so let's go ahead and test it out. So I'm just going to open and close the door. Now we're going to try to start this car up. Bam, there's our proximity function, guys. Now one other thing I am going to be doing is I'm probably going to be leashing the door so that we can get the cuts for this emergency key blade. I don't know if the guy wants to wait around for this, because it's already late in the day and he's ready to get home. His wife and kids are waiting. So what we're probably going to do is schedule a time where we can meet up and I can leashy the door lock so that we can cut this emergency key blade. But for now, this key's working great. Everything's working great. That's a fix. Sweet.
You actually got it going?
So if you want to test it out, test the remote and everything. Yeah, the only thing I gotta do is let me bolt this box back up in there and put your glove box back in.
Oh, that's where you got it from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you gotta get a key from the dealer, man, they're expensive as f.
That's what I was looking
at.
I was actually searching up.
It's like $200 just for the damn key, man.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's literally what I searched up right now. I was like, I wonder how much it's gonna be. And almost everybody was saying it's like 150 if you gotta lucky or know somebody in there. But most of the time, yeah, easily.
It's like 200 bucks, yeah. Well, you know, at least you'll have 2 keys.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not that, is I have the keys to open up the shop.
Oh, you had keys on there. Oh, yeah. That's.
I mean, I usually open up the shop before the buses get there. That way, compressors and everything load up.
I mean, honestly, if somebody finds a key, how are they gonna know what it goes to? You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Unless you got like, you know, something attached to the keys that says where it belongs to. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody's ever gonna like
go out of the way.
Yeah, like find the key and then they're like, oh, I know exactly what this key's for. Like, even if they find your car key, you know, like, it's not like they can You know, what are the chances that they're gonna find your car? You know.
Hey,
all right, bro.
Thank you very much, man. I was gonna ask, do you have like Facebook or anything where you put like?
Yeah, I got a YouTube, man.
Yeah, just the YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not on like Facebook or nothing. The YouTube's I should be getting on more platforms, but I only got YouTube.
That can at least like, I was gonna say like put a review or anything.
Yeah, I can send you. Yeah, the only thing I was gonna say is that the next thing I need to do is really decode this lock right here,
right?
So that I can cut the key blade because it has the emergency key blade in here,
right?
But it's blank, and so.
Oh yeah, so yes, it needs to be physically cut, right?
Yeah. So what I need to do is I need to pull the lock cylinder out of here, and then I need to open it up because I got to get the cuts for it.
Oh right.
Or I need to leash it. So I don't know if you want, maybe we can like schedule a time where we can meet up, and then I can like do that for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you've been waiting, or you're ready to get out of here.
If anything, the fact that I got it in today, I feel like it's